Hello everybody and welcome back to the show. This is our next instalment and episode on the High Performance Sport series. Today we're talking about swimming and the swimming development pathway in the UK. We are here at the UEA. It's the only Olympic-sized swimming pool in East Anglia, so it's a real privilege to be here. And for me to do this on my own, talking about swimming, would be completely ridiculous. So I'm very happy to introduce Megan, who's joined us here today to help me out. So hello Megan, tell me a little bit about you. Introduce yourself and your experience, please.
Yeah, so thank you very much again for having me. So I'm a swimmer. I've been swimming for quite a few years now, probably about 10 years competitively.
Competitively?
Yeah, so I've done 10 national championships in my time. I've started swimming off when I was really young, when I was 5, because my parents wanted me to get used to swimming. When they go on holiday, they could let me in the pool. And then I just gained a really big passion for it. I was always really energetic when I was a child, and my parents said, you know what, let's get you into swimming and let's try and burn some energy off.
Yeah.
And then from doing that, I just learnt I've really loved it. I mean, the opportunities it's given me is massive now. Looking back, I mean, my time management, organisation skills, it is really amazing being in swimming. And it's also given me a lot of life lessons, like setbacks I've had to come over, and injuries, as well as you're looking at your small gains, so nutrition, and I just think it really is just amazing.
That sounds really holistic.
It is,
it's
sure.
a really open all-rounder.
Oh, 100%. Not just the swimming, I would say it's great for, the opportunities outside. I mean,
sure.
Being able to be a swimming teacher, so teaching the younger swimmers their swimming and trying to get them on the same journey as what I've come through. School, so time management, again, trying to juggle swimming alongside exams.
Really good. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at training to compete. Now, we're going to focus on the Swim England development structure, and it goes from development into training into competition. I just want to know, what does that mean? It's very easy for me to say development, training, competition, but what does it actually mean? Can you break it down a little bit? What can I expect to see going through? What changes, if anything? Maybe nothing changes and you just step up as you improve. Where do you coach at? What level do you perform at currently? Just give me an overview. That would be great. Thank you.
So I would say I coach swimmers around this kind of region, the county development programme, getting those younger swimmers into that competitive swimming. At the moment, I would say I'm at the National Youth Development Programme, like I swim nationally, I go to international meets, I've done their Olympic trials. But in the aspects of what it looks like, I would say they are all very quite similar, as in what the session entails. However, what I would say that are different from one another is the intensity, how many times they swim a week, what do they do outside of the pool? So are they doing extra land training sessions, gym sessions? Are there physios on the side? Have they got nutritionists?
Right.
And also looking at their recovery. So if they're down here, I would say, especially the county, is they're probably still at school, and they're looking more into their schoolwork, and if they can fit a bit of swimming in, that's great, kind of thing. The regional, the national level is quite similar as well. But what I would say, when you come up to this world-class area, that they're looking at Olympians there, so swimming is their full-time job. Going to universities where they can swim as their main priority, and then they can do university on the side, which can fit around their program.
So like a scholarship scheme?
Yeah, like a scholarship scheme. I know the UEA, they do something to do with that as well, which they're really good about, and I think they are trying to push it up a little bit higher.
Of course.
Which is absolutely amazing as well. But when I say the world class, they prioritise the recovery so much more, which is really important with swimming, those small gains, because in swimming you're looking at literally a gnat's toenail, so 0.001
makes all the difference.
And it really does. So that 0.001 of a second could be a winner, or it could be third place and you could be out for the Olympics. I know they take 2 athletes to the Olympics on both events, or one singular event. So if 100 metres backstroke, they'll take the fastest, and the second fastest for that. So when it comes to relays, they've got somebody in the bank. It's kind of like when you're in football, you've got a spare goalkeeper on the side because you've got him in the bank. It's very similar to that. But,
great comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned about physicists, psychologists, maybe nutritionists.
Yeah.
At what level can we expect to see them be introduced? Because I'm assuming down in your county level, they might not be specific. Maybe there'll be an option, but maybe not specific to each club or something like that. What can I expect to...
So I would say they're used around the whole aspect.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say you get a professional psychologist coming.
Okay.
It's... You've got to take in consideration that you're going to have a lot of negative self-talk with swimming, and a lot of positive self-talk.
Because it's not all positive.
It's not all positive, no. I must say, from my point of view at the moment, I'm going through a bit of a dip in my swimming, and I've got a lot of negative self-talk.
Oh, wow.
I've got regionals coming up this month, and already I'm giving myself negative self-talk. I'm like, I'm worried about this, it's going to hurt, I'm not going to swim as fast as I was when I was younger. And I mean, I don't have a psychologist to hand. I can't afford a psychologist because they are a lot of money an hour. So what I do is I seek out on the internet, I go on YouTube videos. I mean, I've got a really good coach where I have regular conversations with him, and he gives me videos. At the moment, I am actually listening to a podcast on how to have a good mental strength around swimming. Which is really helpful. But
so that's interesting to hear that there's resources out there.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
So if I am on the development structure, it's nice to hear that there is lots of options out there to help.
Yeah, and I mean, you
can
seek them out yourself. Like, you can go out and have an external psychologist there on site. But for me, I tend to just kind of keep it more personal, maybe between me and my coach, because he can see me progress in the sport as well, and he can really relate to how I'm feeling.
Of course. Okay. So going away from our main structure, what are these three down here, and what do they mean? Bespoke talent projects.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little insight on what that means?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the para swimming talent program is massive. With Swim England, they're really good at
Is that a recent thing? Has that been there for a while? Has it been developed into something?
I wouldn't say it's recent. It's been there for quite many years actually. And they scout out the top 2 amazing para swimmers, and you've got different categories. I don't know if you've heard of these categories. They're called S1 up until S14. S14 is their own category, so this is when you are looking at they don't look physical, so you're more thinking about your mental difficulties, so like Asperger's, which can really implement your swimming. Because for somebody that doesn't have Asperger's, when you get given, I mean, there is other it's not just Asperger's, but there is other mental difficulties,
learning difficulties as well.
So in training, if your coach will go to you, right, let's really work on good high elbow on your front crawl. Somebody that doesn't have that will be able to remember that for a long time, you know. But somebody with those mental difficulties that can't always retain information really easily to forget, which can impede their swimming performance. So that's why they've got that category there.
So they need it repeated?
Yeah, for sure.
So how, as a coach, now leaning away from our swimming performance side of things, as a coach, you said you coach down here and are involved in the para swimming. How do you approach it slightly differently? What does it look like? And maybe even going on from that, what does a normal session look like for anywhere on the pathway that you coach at? What does that look like?
So I would say it looks normal, the same as everybody else, but it's what I would do differently to that one
as the coach.
So as the coach, so I would I can understand if they don't quite get something, so you'd go over that information more than once. You would you kind of sound like a broken record. You'd keep going, let's really work on this good technique, because you need to understand that they can't always remember that information. I mean, I was the same when I was younger. I used to forget everything, and my coach used to always consistently go, right, let's really work on this, Megan. Let's work on this.
Sure.
And it was like a broken record, but it really, really helped.
Okay.
But as
So that's
a
an example
session-
of you giving your experience
for
down
sure,
onto
yeah.
other swimmers, right?
Yeah.
So it's worked for you, and now you're hoping it
Yeah,
works for
and
them
you've
as well.
just got to be patient. You really have. There is swimming. I do believe in the fact that you need to keep going, keep persevering, and then one day something will just click. I mean, I've been, as a coach, working with a particular swimmer, working on their dives. I mean, it's been really tricky because dives are really quite hard because you're just falling into the water with your hands first.
Yeah.
And that's completely like your bodily instincts, what you want to do. You want to get that centre of mass going into the water first because that's what you normally do.
Sure.
And we've been trying so hard of trying to get them to dive in the water first. And you have regular conversations with the parents like, this will come.
Yeah.
You've just got to wait.
Yeah.
When they grow, you've got to take all of that in comparison. And I mean, it has taken a while. I'd probably say it's taken about 6 weeks.
Okay.
And probably even more than that, actually. And they have finally now got that dive where they are just getting those hands in first, not their legs.
Yeah.
And it's just that massive
Bit of
difference.
confidence
For
that's
sure.
built up over that time period.
100%, yeah.
Great success story.
Yeah, and
Really
you've
nice to
just
hear.
got to be really persistent
Awesome.
and persevere, for sure.
Awesome. Okay. So a little mention back onto our main structure now. I'm going to go back to the development stages. So just tell me what it means to go from stage to stage. Is there much change? Is there any change? What does it mean? Because they've put it in a positive correlation of upwards trajectory. What does that mean? What is it? Just how they've laid it out? What does it look like actually in the pool?
Yeah. I wouldn't say there's a massive difference, really.
So it's just natural progression.
It is a natural progression. Each one of these swimmers try their absolute best. It's just what they prioritise in, really.
Okay.
Swimmers that tend to be down this region are just looking at swimming, and they might have something on the side, like they might be a really keen athlete in athletics, or they might be a triathlete and they want that endurance, but they've been really good with swimming. That's why they've stuck in this program in swimming. And then you kind of go up this up the hill.
So to go from stage to stage, what is it that takes the swimmer to the next level? Is it an entry requirement scheme? Is it time-based? Is it competition-based? Is it how often you're available? What does it look like? Because everybody wants to be up here, don't they? If you're on the program, if you're on the pathway, the desire of the athlete is up here.
Yeah.
You're motivated to get to the top level. So everybody wants to go to the further step. What is it that actually gets them there?
Right, what I would say it's looking at your times in your age group. So if you are top 3 in your age group, you're looking at going to these kind of National Youth Development Programme, DICE programs.
So top 3?
Yeah, top 3, maybe top 4, depending on how close the seconds are between one another. So there are actually, I'm currently training with a swimmer that are going to a DICE programme in Sweden.
Amazing.
At the moment.
What does DICE mean?
So DICE is Development in Sports Excellence. So they are looking at swimmers all around the country and trying to get them all together, working as a team, going away swimming in foreign countries where they're not used to everything. You've got to get used to different foods, different beds, and seeing how you can perform when everything is different.
New environment.
New environment, for sure. You are sharing a room with someone that you might have never met before.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got all the
Can
odds
you block,
against you.
Can you block all of that out and get in the pool and go?
For sure.
Is that the
and
idea?
It's kind of that. I believe that is one of the ideas without actually getting told that. That's what I can kind of analyse out of it.
Awesome.
That's what I
So
believe.
what we've got from that is that it's the top 3 or 4, depending on the times, to move on to the next level. It's how well you deal with new environments, how well you're doing in your club, in your group, in whatever stage you're in, to get to the next level. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so next I want to talk about Swim England. So you'll have seen the Swimming England here on our development pathway. They run most of the pathway before it's passed over to Aquatics GB right at the very top in the world-class programs. So what is it about Swim England that you can tell me? What's a little insight? How do they work? You mentioned learn to swim. What do they do to take the athlete through? And then how do they communicate at the top that they know that an athlete's ready to go on to Aquatics GB and move into a world-class competitions?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So I would say Swim England for me, looks more at the Learn to Swim programme. So getting the complete utter beginners, where I'm looking at little ones going into the pool for the first time, getting a structure of the swimming plan, so stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then getting them into the pool, learning the complete utter fundamental side of things,
the basics,
and then getting them back, when we were back on the last slide, getting them into that county level, and then you spoke about how they work in the development side, so you have talent officers, talent ID.
Really important.
Officers that will go to national events and look at these certain swimmers in the pool that are winning their races at nationals and kind of scouting them out and get them onto their Swim England pathway, which then slowly, if they go up the stairs, up the ladder, will then get themselves to Aquatics GB.
To Aquatics GB, right at the very top.
Yeah.
So what is it that they run? I'm assuming, going to make an assumption that England, Wales, Scotland all have their own swim national governing body that then all feed into Aquatics GB.
Right. Yeah.
So selection process in terms of that, what does that look like? Is there a majority English? Is there a majority Welsh? Is it all equal? What is it that Aquatics GB do? Is it they purely run the Olympic team?
So I would say putting all of the Scottish and Welsh to the side. What they look at is primarily who is the fastest. Who is the fastest in 100 front crawl? Who's the fastest in 400 IM? And what they want is the strongest swimmers in those events to then represent them and us on the main stage.
Amazing.
So you're looking at some very, very fast swimmers, Olympic level, Olympic medalists.
Okay, great. So I've did a little bit of pre-research before the podcast, and I've got a couple of stats for you, a couple of facts that all lead into a question. So just hear me out on this one. So the Great Britain swimming team has won a total of 79 medals at the Olympic Games, made up of 20 gold, 30 silver, and 29 bronze medals overall, every Olympics. The largest swimming team at an Olympics was in 1976, when GB took 39 different swimmers to Montreal. The smallest squad was the 6 participants in Athens in 1906. That's obviously a long time ago. Tom Dean, James Guy, Matthew Richards and Duncan Scott, who I'm assuming that's who you're referencing to at the very top level, broke the European record on their way to Olympic gold in the men's 4x200 metre freestyle relay. And finally, Duncan Scott was the most successful Team GB athlete at the Games, winning 4 medals, 1 gold and 3 silver. So based on all of those facts, what can we attribute this recent success to? Because it is quite recent. These are stats from the last couple of games. Is it that we've smallened our team? We mentioned in 1976 they took 39 athletes. How many do we take now? Is it smaller? Is it larger? What can I attribute our recent success to? And why was it maybe not so good previously?
So I would, looking at those statistics, is the more numbers you're going to bring, the higher probability there is that there's going to be more medals there. Due to funding, I believe the reason why we haven't got as many swimmers going to the Olympic Games is because of our funding. Can we actually afford to take all of these swimmers? Because everything's getting more and more expensive at the moment, and swimming actually at the moment isn't that massively funded, not in comparison to other sports where you're looking at football. I mean, we're tiny in comparison to sports like that. But yes, I would actually say I watched their 200 front crawl time trials at the Olympic trials in London. So you had people like Tom Richards. Tom Richards there. You had James Guy, Tom Dean, one of the fastest swimmers in the UK, going head to head with one another, and it was amazing.
Great experience.
It's actually amazing to see how far we have come though. From what we were to what we are now. I mean,
just define what we were. What are you saying?
Yeah, so I would say we weren't anywhere near as successful as we are now, but I think we have come such a long way.
Okay.
The swimmers that we are taking are at the best. They
Okay.
are prime, they are ready to go, and they are fast.
So in terms of attribution,
Yeah.
can we put that down to nutrition?
Yeah,
Developments in
for sure.
technology?
Yeah.
Funding?
Yeah.
Anything else? All of these
Definitely,
things?
yeah, definitely looking at technology.
Give us an
looking at
example.
Video analysis,
Okay.
biomechanics,
Under the
in
water
swimming.
stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So those marginal gains in swimming are massive.
Okay.
So taking a video of your underwater fly kicks
Okay.
now
Yeah.
and working on that is going to be massive in comparison to back in 1906 when they haven't got video analysis and they can't break down those small skills.
Right.
If I understand that they have got loads of medals back then, but look at their times in comparison to the times now.
Sure.
They are a lot faster.
Amazing.
Because you're looking at new racing suits, which are faster. You're looking at new goggles, new hats.
Yeah.
Different food. You got different.
Quality of coaches?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality of coaches.
I want to make a point about names that we've spoken about, your Tom Deans, your Duncan Scotts, even Adam Peaty, throwing him into the mix. Did they follow this pathway? Did it look like this when they came through the ranks? What can we attribute their success to individually? Was it that we had a great pathway? Because obviously this came into play in 2022. What did it look like before that? How did they come through?
So I would say, I know Adam Peaty didn't start his swimming journey until I think he was about 10. Which is
quite late
old.
for a swimmer?
Yeah, which is quite late.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking at learning the fundamentals. So just your aquatic breathing side of things, how do you breathe in the water at 10? Whereas you've got athletes like me, which aren't anywhere near as successful as him, that are going to that audio at this regional when he's trying to learn how to blow bubbles.
Sure.
So I don't believe that it is it's kind of looking like a robot. I don't believe that this is, if you follow this, you're going to get there.
Okay.
I believe that it's our coaches, it's our responsibility to be able to pick out somebody who's going to be better than somebody else. What natural attributes have they got for them to be a really good swimmer, which maybe this person don't have? Okay.
Have you got any specifics on that? What is it exactly that they're looking for? Does arm length come into it? Is it purely pace? Is it, what can we see?
I mean, I would say it's massive.
Okay, the scope.
So, yeah, the scope is huge.
Okay.
I would say it's how tall you are.
Okay.
Your flexibility.
Yep.
How big your hands are.
Wow.
How big your feet are.
Amazing.
I mean,
really specific.
It really is. I mean, I always say as a joke that I'm not as fast as I should be because I wouldn't say I'm very tall, but I'm about nearly 6 foot and I've got size 5 feet. Where I teach some people and they are, no word of a lie, they are 8 years old and they've got size 6 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, do you know what? You're going to be good.
Yeah.
So it's looking at those small marginal gains that you're like, yeah, do you know what? They are going to go far. And it's kind of seeing how strong they are through the water, their push, their power.
Yeah.
Are they just slipping through the water or are they really pushing and using each stroke? Sure. And you can really see that at the younger level more so than now when you're at my kind of age. Sure. I think it's harder to identify than when they are younger because they haven't got as much muscle mass that's going to be able to push them through. They are purely...
Technique.
Yes, technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, fine. So we've spoken about the pathway as a whole. We've spoken about individual parts. We've spoken about the national governing bodies of the pathway and of elite swimming. I want to talk about positives and negatives, which can be a little bit of a touchy topic, but what works well, what doesn't work well on the pathway. Is there anything that you've noticed in your experience? Maybe there's a high dropout rate at a certain stage. Maybe it's that it actually works really well and maybe there's not many issues. Maybe we have perfected the system. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
So coming from past experience, I'm going to go for the negatives first.
No worries.
I would say I was a very fast 16-year-old swimmer.
Okay.
I was pulling out some really fast times.
Nice, well done.
Because I was enjoying it, I was loving it. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it and I love it now. Otherwise, if I didn't, I wouldn't be in the sport.
Sure.
But I wouldn't say I got talent ID'd at that time straight away because I wasn't consistent enough. And then COVID hit and then it kind of just went...
Okay, so we do have to take COVID into account. Lots of changes going on.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the positives, I mean, Swim England, Aquatics GB, Swim England, they're giving out a really good learn to swim pathway with their stages, being able to flourish off. I mean, we use the Swim England pathway at Penguins, and we also, I know, places for people, they use the Swim England pathway like it's used everywhere. It's a really good framework to use to try and get young ones learning the fundamentals of swimming and then hopefully branching out into competitive swimming.
Moving them into the pathway.
Yeah, moving them into the pathway. How that would look from a coach, for example, is as a swim teacher, we will, at Penguins, we'll use a Swim England pathway. We'll get them through the Swim England pathway. We'll scout them out when they are probably about 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah, so young.
Really young.
6 or 7. And it is quite tricky because sometimes it's like finding a needle in a haystack, getting those good swimmers.
Sure.
Getting them onto our pathway, getting them into City of Norwich Swimming Club, where we have got some absolutely amazing coaches.
Sure.
Facilities we use, we have amazing coaches. I mean, we have our head coach, Alex Pinniger, where he has actually coached a Paralympic champion, Jessica Jane Applegate, at the 2012 Paralympic Games. She came away with a gold medal. And I mean, not just Alex, I mean, we've got other coaches where we've got Karen Pinniger, where she is also a really amazing coach. She's a very smart lady. She got a PhD in neuroscience. So she is very, very knowledgeable, not just in swimming, but like the psychology side of things as well. She's really passionate with. And we've got some other really amazing coaches.
A really all-rounder.
Oh, for sure.
As a
like
team,
100%.
really
And
effective.
we work so well together.
Sure.
We take swimmers away to swim camps, not that long ago in February, we took 40 swimmers away to Lanzarote in Club La Santa, and I was luckily to be one of the coaches.
As a coach rather than a swimmer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was utterly amazing. But looking back at that swimming, and this is what swimming can give to somebody, the opportunities I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
As a swimmer, I've travelled all over. I've gone to Dubai, I've gone to Antwerp, Luxembourg, Lanzarote, Cyprus loads of times, Torremolinos.
Wow.
You know, loads and loads of places for swimming.
Amazing.
And it's that opportunities it can give you. And I think City of Norwich as a whole is a beacon of that kind of success right there, really.
Amazing.
And I would say that's a massive positive. City of Norwich Swimming Club, massive positive.
Great work.
And I'm not just saying it because I've come through the programme.
Sure.
It is.
But you're still going. You're coaching, performing.
Not many people can say that.
Exactly.
And I believe it is because it is filled with amazing people.
So you've got to take the positives from there as well. I totally agree. So in terms of a negative, just throwing it back to that, talent identification, maybe a little bit of improvement on that, maybe picking them out when they're at their best to see how they do further on. Anything else in the negative branch? Does the programme reach a level to the point where it stalls, where it gets...
So I would say the negative aspect of this is a lot of swimmers tend to drop off at about 16.
Okay. Drop off to what?
Well, drop off completely.
Just don't swim anymore?
No, they've gone.
Is that due to time constraints, do you think?
Well, what do you think? When you're going through, when you're at 16, you've got intense exams coming up.
Big time.
And a lot of swimmers can't juggle. Between the two.
Time management.
It is time management right there. I mean, when I was 16, I was swimming 8 times a week, 2.5 hours a session, land training sessions.
Wow.
It was hardcore.
Okay.
Sometimes I would wake up at, and this is real, this is so real, I would wake up at, so bearing in mind 16, waking up at 4:45, going swimming, finishes in at 7, going to the gym, getting to school for 8:25 at school all day until 8:25 until 3:05. From 3:05 I'd go home for probably about 15 minutes. In that time I've got to eat, try and reflect on what I've learned at school. By the time you know it, you get in the car, back to UEA and going for a swim. Sometimes I wouldn't get home until 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And in that time, you've got to try and think, where am I going to eat? How am I going to reflect on my schoolwork?
Yeah.
How am I also going to have a life?
And recover for the next day,
And
by the way.
recover for the next day.
And you do that multiple times a week?
I did that for years.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So really high level of commitment.
And I did it through uni, through college.
Wow.
It doesn't stop.
So
But
commitment is a non-negotiable?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you've got to be really good time management. You've got to find little pockets in the day. Where can I have a life? Where can I go for a coffee with my friends?
Sure.
And I believe that I've had really good coaches that have been able to help me with that. They've, with my work as well, they've looked at where can I work and where can Megan actually have a life? And
That's
where
really
can it fit
good.
in?
That's
And
really
is
good.
really
Taking it all
amazing.
into account.
Yeah.
Okay. So training schedules, training sessions, how does it look? Give me an example of a week. Maybe compare it to what it was when you were younger. Compare it to what it was now. Obviously, time management for you must have changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
But what does a layout of a normal week look like?
So now, kind of I'm in full-time job, as you would say. So I'm juggling swim teaching, working at a school with swimming and full-time swimming. So that looks like on a Monday, it's got to be waking up at 4:45, swimming 5:30 till 7:15.
Wow.
And then what I normally do is I sit in the cafe for a little bit,
Yeah.
do some work, do emails, and then get myself off to work, get there for about 8:45, set up swimming, and then I'm there until 12:30 doing swim teaching at the school.
Yeah.
And then go home for a little bit for about half an hour. And then coming back for 4:30.
It's just a full rotation every single time. Okay.
Yeah, and that's every Monday.
Right.
I would say that's one of the toughest days. And then you got a Tuesday where I work in and out on Tuesday. It might be a full day, it might not be.
Okay.
But my swimming side of things, it is 5 until 7 in the evening. And then a Wednesday morning, it's 4:30 till 7:15, and then gym for an hour after that.
Wow.
Maybe a swim in the afternoon, but I do work 9 till 3 on that day as well. So if I do swim in the evening, I'm going to be knackered on Thursday. So I've got to take that into
More of a relaxed one,
consideration.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Thursday it's 4:30 until 6. And then I have work 6:15 until 7:30. And then I've got to get back home, have some food, get to sleep before going training in the morning.
Wow, I forget you eat and
5:30.
sleep during this time as well.
Yeah, and also have a life.
Yeah.
And then 5:30 until 7, and then gym.
Wow.
And then usually I try and have a Friday off work completely.
Wow.
Where I just swim. Because
Okay.
I do enjoy swimming, it's not like work, I enjoy it.
Of course, yeah.
And try and have Friday, is my reset day. You know, have swam and gone to the gym.
Sure.
And then go to swimming Saturday morning.
So that's 4 early wake-ups?
It is indeed.
Okay.
That's slightly later though.
Oh.
So it's at 6:30.
A lay-in on a Saturday.
It is. And then I have to get out of the pool at 8.
Okay.
To then go to work for a bit.
Yep.
And then I have Saturday off.
Wow.
Which is lovely.
Wow. Social life?
Yes.
Wow.
Jackpot. And then I have work Sunday, and I know some of you are like, oh, working on Sunday, that's hardcore. But when you do it after a few years, it's fine.
Yep.
You get used to it. 8 until 11:35, and then I'm done.
Wow.
And then it all goes again.
Constant rotation.
It is a constant
Amazing.
rotation.
That's really full on.
But it is, yeah. And
so you have to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I do enjoy it, and I don't feel like when I'm coaching, I don't feel like it's a job. I mean, people say to me, like, how do you do it? You know, how do you juggle it?
Yeah.
And I don't honestly think coaching is work.
Okay.
Because I love it. It's so fun. It really is. Like, you get to meet new people all the time. I mean, they're 6 and 7, so they're hilarious as well.
Yep.
Teaching them to swim, giving them pointers on how to make them go faster, and then you see it at a race.
Yeah.
Their little medals, and they come up to you. Look, Megan.
So really rewarding.
It's so rewarding,
Sure.
and I get them coming up to me all the time with their medals, and they're like, "Look what I've won."
Yeah.
I mean, I was away in Lanzarote, or was it Luxembourg? I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
And there was a little mini meet gala here at Sports Park, and that
Yeah.
was getting City of Norwich swimmers and Penguin swimmers together
Yeah.
to race, and really fun. It's enjoyable. They can showcase their skills to their parents.
Yeah.
We have officials there. We have timekeepers. We also have the starting officer, so it looks like a race.
Okay.
And it is a race, and you get DQ'd, but it's also massive.
Okay.
They can learn from this when they're about. You get 5-year-olds going to those.
Wow.
5. Crazy.
Yeah.
And they came up to me, and I weren't there, and on the next training session they go, "Megan, look what I've won."
Amazing. So they're really proud of themselves
So
as well.
proud.
So they must really enjoy it themselves,
They do.
which
and
makes
I
them
always
step
try
on.
and make it really fun.
Of course, because what is sport if it's not fun?
Exactly.
Why do we do it if not?
Well, with swimming, the programme does look quite structured, but it's what you do to make the session so different.
Sure.
And what I do is you've got to be fun. You've
Yeah.
got to take yourself not too seriously.
Yeah.
You've got to be a joke.
Yeah.
You've got to learn what Bluey is. I don't know what Bluey is, but the kids love Bluey.
Yeah.
The kids love their new Schmiggle water bottles or whatever
Yeah.
they're called.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to say, "I love your water bottle." You've got
Yeah.
to get in with them.
Sure.
And when they start to get used to you and you start to have this really good trusting relationship,
Yeah.
the session's so much more
Yeah.
fun. But you've got to also make sure they're doing the work as well.
It gives them a personalised experience,
For sure.
which makes them
Yeah.
do the work. It
Yeah.
gives them a little bit of motivation to see that
Yeah.
getting out of it what
what's
they
really
want and what you want.
Oh, for sure. And what's really important, you've also got to talk not just about swimming.
Okay.
You've got to talk about what you're doing over the weekend, what are you doing today on Sunday?
Yeah.
And then you build a kind of relationship with them, and you
Yeah.
gain that trust, which is really important, I
Amazing.
believe. But kind of going all the way back to what my programme looks like as a whole.
Training sessions,
So
yeah.
that was me now as an adult.
Sure.
But when I was younger,
So maybe when you're
I was a
first coming onto the
yeah,
pathway,
I was national here. I
Okay.
was still quite high up.
but much younger.
Yeah, I was still winning 1 national medals at this point, as well as now.
Throw that in
Not
there.
quite so much now, though, as much as I was when I
Okay.
was younger.
Okay.
But on a typical week, it was mad. It was intense.
Okay.
So bearing in mind, I had to go to school. So school was 8:30 until 3:05. I think I have
Yep.
spoken about that roughly.
Sure.
So that was Monday to Friday. And then alongside that, I had about 8 training sessions. I had 3 early mornings, so 5:30 till 7:15
Yeah.
or 7, alongside hourly gym sessions before. Our training time was a lot later, so it was 5 until 7.
Okay.
Sometimes 7:30, 2.5 hours. Alongside getting to a sports park at 4 o'clock to do an hour gym. And then you're going back home, you're getting home. I live about half an hour away, so you're getting home, and I used to take about half an hour in the showers. So getting home about 8.
Yeah.
Having to eat, having about an hour until you should realistically go to sleep.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that
Amazing.
for years.
Amazing.
But the life skills you get with that.
Sure.
So
Discipline, teamwork.
Oh, 100%. So when you are at this age, and what I always say to parents is, I get a lot of parents going, "Oh, I'm worried about how so-and-so are going to get on with going into a new session with new coaches,
Sure.
new swimmers." And the thing what I would give is you just got to have fun.
Okay.
The life skills you're going to get from this is going to be massive.
Just commit to
How
it.
many 7-year-olds can say at school that they've met, I don't know, 10 other new swimmers their age that they've never met before, and be coached by 2 adult coaches with a whole new pool, whole new environment, whole new training session
Yep.
and training structure?
Yep.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yep.
And that's at 7. So imagine when you get into 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and older, what opportunities you're going to get given there. And an opportunity for me is going to Lanzarote with 30
Amazing.
kids, 40 kids
Yeah.
as a coach. And it's beautiful.
Amazing.
Loved it. I'd do it over and over again. Get me out there now.
Amazing. Okay, let me throw a couple of questions at you. Just a little bit of a Q&A. Okay, first one, a bit of a funny one about me. Am I
Okay.
too old?
No, do you know what? Absolutely not.
Okay. So at what stage can I realistically join the pathway? Does it allow for late bloomers? Does the program
100%.
Put me in there. What?
So you can do adult classes.
Okay.
Swim England provides adult classes.
Okay.
Getting complete beginners back into the pool is
Wow.
actually quite hard to teach adults because they're more scared.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, no.
They've got that predisposition, haven't they?
Yeah. Whereas when they're younger, you know, you'd go on a roller coaster, no issue. I mean, I used to go on one of those roller coasters that used to just plummet down to the ground. Whereas now I'm overthinking that, and I'm like, no, thank you. Whereas
so you
when
can
they're
apply
younger,
the same thing
exactly the same thing.
Okay.
You get little 5-year-olds. I'm like, right, are we ready for swimming? The parents are like, no, they're a bit worried. I'm like, and then you have a little chit chat. You're like, oh, have you had a good day? They're like, yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Never met me before, and they're already like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm like, should we go get our feet in the water? Sit on the side. The amount of times where I've had little kids sit there on the side, get their feet in, nah, I'm ready to get in.
Right.
They start going down the stairs, and they're ready to get in, face full of water.
Amazing.
As long as you don't overthink it, you'll be fine.
Okay.
And you can start now.
And I can be
coach you.
And I can be talent ID'd.
Yeah.
For the program, for the pathway. How high? Where's the complication come in?
I mean, you could do.
Okay.
Depending on how quickly you can get it.
Hey, it's still on the cards. It's still on the cards.
I mean, nothing's impossible. We just don't know how to do it.
Okay. Great shout. Okay, so next question. Maybe we're looking into a competition, right? Maybe it's the first competition you've ever participated in at a certain level on our pathway. How do you prepare for that? What's your method? What's your method specifically? But also, what do you recommend as a coach to first-time competitors? What does that look like?
Never change what you're used to doing.
Okay.
So
what does that mean?
I would make sure I'm having the same sleep. I would make sure I'm having the same food.
Okay.
I wouldn't try anything new. I would try and bring my own pillow because I'm used to my own pillow.
Okay.
Bringing comfy pajamas and making sure you have a really good night's sleep.
Okay.
You do have some odds against you when you go away to a city where you have never swam before.
Okay.
For example, recently I just went to Luxembourg to compete at a
Nationals?
No, it's not in. I don't really want to class as international, but there were swimmers from all around the country.
Okay.
Canada, you had people from Spain, everywhere, really.
It's an international competition.
Well, yeah,
It's an international competition.
And when you go there, you've got new food, you've got a new bed, you've got different transport to the pool. How am I going to cover from that? Am I going to walk? Am I going to get the tram?
Okay.
And you're looking at so many different factors which can impede your performance, but how are you going to stop them from impeding your performance when you look at it on a bit of paper?
Yeah.
You should swim a lot slower.
Right.
Because everything is new. For example, we went there. As a swimmer, I'm a competitive backstroker. So that's where I've won my national medals from, is 200 backstroke. And I would say the pool ceiling here is perfect for backstroke.
Okay.
Because you can follow the panels.
Wow, what a specific detail.
However, when I went to Luxembourg, when I tell you the architectures were like, how are we going to screw over all the backstrokers?
Okay.
And it was hard.
Do you think they thought about that?
No. It looked beautiful.
Okay.
The ceiling looked beautiful.
Yeah.
But not when you swim backstroke.
They hadn't thought about you?
When I tell you, we were swimming like this in the pool. Imagine I was swimming. There's videos of me swimming into the lame rope, hitting the lame rope, and then going to the other side of the lame rope. In the finals, don't ask me how I got into the final, but I did.
Well done.
And I was swimming next to a swimmer from Swim England. They were going through their pathway, talent pathway, and that was one of the galas they were chosen to do.
Amazing.
And she's a very, very fast backstroker. And even she was going like this.
Wow. So that's an example of how the environment around you
can impact your performance massively.
Right.
100. Exactly. Alongside that, I also believe that I probably had COVID at that time. I couldn't taste or smell for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Alongside being in a new country, being ill, having a rubbish ceiling, and whilst trying to stay positive.
Yeah. And going back to our preparation, how do you prepare for all of that? That's impossible, surely.
Well,
how can you possibly know that you're going to have that have the ceiling situation.
I didn't know I had the ceiling situation, even though my coach discreetly tried and say, let's maybe not do backstroke events. Let's maybe try some other events. And I was like, no, I want to do backstroke because I want to get into the finals, even though I did get into the finals for some other strokes as well, which was quite fun.
Wow.
Breaststroke, I'm a bit of a dark horse, as they call me, for breaststroke.
Okay.
When I tell you I couldn't swim breaststroke when I was younger, I used to have a screw kick. When I mentioned Karen Pinniger as one of the coaches, she worked with me so hard to try and fix my breaststroke leg kick. And now, never thought I would be, but I've actually qualified for British Champs, so that's like higher than nationals, I'd say, for 50 breaststroke. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
Because I'm not a breaststroke.
Amazing.
And I'm actually quite proud of that.
Yeah, of course.
More so if I qualified for like a backstroke event.
Sure. So that's a real example of progression, improvement.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Probably going back from another past story is, I would say it was 2016 nationals.
Okay.
And I had 10 events there. So I had IM events, so that's fly back, breast, front crawl.
Yeah.
400, 200 of that. I had 100 butterfly, 50 butterfly. 10 events. I can't actually remember what they were, but it was a lot.
Okay.
And I went there with my mum, and we stayed in a Holiday Inn room for 2 weeks. We had a microwave.
Wow.
It was
14 nights, 13 nights.
In Sheffield.
In Sheffield.
It wasn't good.
Amazing.
No.
Hey, that's an achievement in itself.
Yes, at the national side of things.
Yeah.
But staying in a hotel room, 14 nights was not fun.
So it must have impacted your preparation for those events. So this is...
So my events went downhill, 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 downhill.
Okay.
Every event I did, I weren't anywhere near my PB, and I had 200 backstroke on the last day.
Okay.
And every day after all those other events, I kept going to my coach, I just want to go home. It was so demoralising. I just want to go home. This is hard.
Yep.
I don't want to be in this hotel room anymore.
As you would.
I want my own bed.
Yep.
I want to start the summer holidays because this was in July. And he persevered with me. My mum was there. She was like, come on, Megan, you can do it. And it got to the last event on the last day, 200 backstroke. And I did well. I got I think I was either slightly off my PB.
Yeah.
Or I got a PB. I can't remember which one.
Really impressive still, considering the...
I was fourth into the final, and I was like, what will be, what will be? You know, I've got nothing to show it. Let's have a bit of fun. Yeah. And I came away second. Second, I can't actually remember whether it was third or second.
Okay.
And I came second for 200 backstroke at nationals for that. And that, I believe, is a true story where you have to just push through.
Persevere.
And push through because there is some kind of light there.
Yeah. And using the network around you, your mum and the coach, really giving you that motivation.
Yeah, and obviously family at home, they were like mum and dad, like dad at home, not mum. Mum was there with me. And like grandparents, and you'd have a chat with them.
All supporting
you.
Of
Stay
course
there,
they
stay
would.
there.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so for first timers, give us just a couple of lines. How are you going to prepare? Keep it normal. Don't change anything. Don't try anything new.
Yeah. Take everything in. Okay. So when I was younger, I was, like I referred to, I was very, very fast. Yeah. I mean, I was winning regionals. I had national medals, like counties. I was winning. Big time. And I never took it in. I never stepped back and thought, do you know what? I'm fast. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that now, and I'm not trying to boast, is because back then, Megan is a lot faster than now, Megan. Okay. And I was fast. Okay. But I didn't take it in. Okay. I didn't step back and think, do you know what, that's a fast time. And that's what I really regret doing. Sure. So take it in, use the experience as well. Yeah, taking it in, looking at those medals and thinking, yeah, do you know what, I've won them. Yeah, bit of pride. Yeah, and now when I win regionals, I take my little medal, I look at it, and I'm like, do you know what, I won you. And then I lose it. And it was all worth it, yeah. But I take it in. I do, I'm terrible. Sure. You accumulate so many, and it sounds really bad, but you do just end up accumulating all these medals. If you're training that much, you must expect competitions to be that much, so then you have medal opportunities that much. So I'd go to races, and I would do 5 or 6 races, And when I was younger, I would come away with 5 or 6 medals. And imagine that over years and years.
Yep. Adds up.
It does.
Yep. Amazing.
Shame they're not real gold.
So you mentioned a couple of strokes. Breaststroke has been a real progression for you,
sure.
and backstroke seems to be your best.
Yeah.
So what's your favourite?
At the moment, breaststroke, because I don't put as much pressure on myself. I go in and have fun. What will be is what will be.
Sure, so you feel like an underdog?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, amazing.
Because the people I train with, they're like, oh, Megan, where's this breaststroke coming from? And, you know.
Feels good.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
Whereas backstroke, I'm having a little bit of a plummet with that at the moment. So love-hate relationship.
So is that
a
currently...
bit of negative self-talk there.
Sure. Is it currently your least favourite stroke?
It's a love-hate relationship.
Okay.
It really is.
Okay, so overall, what is the worst? What is your least favourite stroke?
Probably front crawl.
Okay.
Yeah.
A real common one.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Megan, it's been great to have you on the show, and I've learned a lot personally, and I hope everybody watching has learned a lot. I'm going to give you an opportunity now to give us your final thought, maybe a piece of advice that you want everybody to take away from this. Let us know. What is it?
I mean, thank you again for having me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been good.
Thanks.
But what I would say is to get there, the world-class programme, you've got to love swimming. You're not going to get there if you don't love it.
Got to love it. Got to enjoy it.
You do.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, because you spend so many hours doing it. You got to love it.
And keep that idea in mind all the way through.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Where can we see you next? What's next? What's next for you?
So I've got regionals here at the end of the month.
Amazing.
And then I believe next month, do you know what? I'm terrible at knowing when the galas are. And I believe it might be next month or the month after, I can't remember. I've got British Champs. So up in London Aquatics Centre.
Well, we all wish you the best of luck with both
you.
of those, and I hope to hear back and see how you did on those as well.
Thank you.
Well, that is it from us today, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Megan. I hope you've heard a little bit from me and have got something out of the podcast. That's the important bit. And I hope to see you all very soon again. Thank you for listening.